Hello, students. Welcome to Immerse Computer College. So this is our first meeting in LS3 or Learning Skills 3. So let's now proceed for our topic. Our topic is all about cultural approaches to literacy. There is a cultural foundation for learning to read and write. Literacy, which is highly valued in US dominant culture, it is not uniformly meaningful across cultural groups. For example, certain American Indian and Alaskan Native group prepare to keep their language and literacy. 55 ancestral languages oral because of the social cost of having a written language. Among these costs are the erosion of traditional roles of elders, the loss of oral tradition. These groups or speech communities typically have highly sophisticated oral strategies for organizing lengthy narratives as well as social strategies that ensure transmission of cultural tradition and history. Particular individuals are responsible for understanding and remembering certain knowledge and passing it on the other appropriate individuals. When written forms of language are introduced, they can deserve the culture of the group. Moreover, special oral skills and develop memory, use the rhyme and special storytelling strategies may be lost when speech community transition to using written language. Okay? Indigenous tribes of Americans and elsewhere have been faced with a paradox. On the other hand, despite what they regard as the negative implications of written literacy, and they know that certain languages may have a better chances of surviving if there are reduce the oral to written form in a process known as graphization. On the other hand, graphization necessarily alters the patterns of language used traditionally used by the group. Therefore, groups that have chosen to record their oral language in written will have distinctive patterns of literacy use depending on the group's need. If the group is bilingual, people may choose to use certain forms of communication in one language and other forms of communication in other language. This is linguistic phenomenon known as diglosia. All right, students. When you say literacy, meron tayong tinatawag na literate and unliterate. So ito yung basihan kapag literate ka, ikaw ay marunong magbasa at the same time magsulat. Meron namang illiterate person. Ang mga illiterate person po, ito yung mga tao na hindi marunong magsulat at the same time, hindi marunong magbasa. Alright? So if you are good at writing at the same time in language, then you are a literate person. Okay, magbasa at magsulat. Alright, now let's proceed. For example, in the Marshall Island of Micronesia, personal letters are most often written in the vernacular language, Mashalist. However, beyond elementary school grades, academic writing is conducted in English. Further, Micronesia also uses literacy in rich ways one might not consider in an American context. For example, including carved storyboard illustrating legends or historical events, used to retell the story without actual text. Tattoos have implicit textual meaning and petroglyphs, or drawing in stone that transmit ancient cultural history and content. When I say petroglyphs, ito yung mga sinaunang pamamaraan ng pagsulat is even gamit ang bato sa pag-drawing, pero yung mga dinodrawing nila doon ay merong mga meaning. Yung mga ancients yun before. But nowadays, kasi wala namang gumagamit nun, makikita na lang natin yun sa mga history places. So, mga inipon at inalagaan ng mga ancient. So, kaya ngayon, alam pa rin natin yung mga sinaunang sulat at sinaunang lengguwahe. Alright? The oral language as a basis for written language. Well-developed oral language proficiency provides the foundation for written language. In fact, reading involves responses to visual symbols based on auditory language. Successful reading in any language depends on seeing print, hearing speech, and associating this with store experiences. Language development, therefore, is essential for proficient reading, as readers or reading researchers Marilyn Adams has observed. Children understand spoken language, and we depend on that. It is form, speech, and true speech that they must come to understand written language as well. So we have elements of literacy proficiency. The major elements of literacy proficiency are phonological awareness, vocabulary, and prior knowledge. Knowledge of discourse structures, knowledge of literacy style, and awareness of purposes for reading. Although these elements are not the only building blocks of literacy, revealed they are among the most important. In addition, teachers can understand of morphology and syntax of a language can facilitate second language learners' acquisition of English. The goal of this section is to provide an introduction from which teacher can proceed to identify areas that they want to pursue in greater depth. All right, so let's proceed. What is the meaning of phonology? Phonological awareness to read successful in any alphabetic language, student must be able to distinguish among the sounds of the words they are reading and to hear the smaller units of the sounds that compose words. This has been referred to as a phonemic awareness, a skill that is actually a component of phonological awareness. Phonological awareness is the ability to attend implicitly to the phonological structure, to the spoken words, rather than their meaning. And syntactic roles. To be phonologically aware is a simple level to be able to detect patterns like rhythms, or at the more abstract level, to learn to hear and the individual sounds, phonemes in words. For example, a young reader must learn to hear fog as FOG, fog, Alright? So may mga example pa tayong ibibigay later on when we say phonology awareness. May mga letters sa isang words na minsan hindi na natin kailangan pang banggitin. Parang nawawala na siya. Like for example, the debut or the debut. So like for example is that. Pero kapag in spelling siya, that is D-E-B-U-T. Boutique. Parang pag binasa mo siya is boutique. Like for example, pero kapag binasa mo, it's boutique. And default. Kapag in-spelling natin siya, D-E-O-P-T. Pero kapag binasa natin siya as individual, depot. Pero kapag binasa talaga siya in phonological aware, that is depo or depo. Alright? So may mga words, may mga letters na mawawala kapag binasa natin yung isang words. Alright, next. At a more advanced level, reading successfully requires that the reader understand the relation between words as a intervention or among words such as integrated or integrate, integral, integrity as the level. These linguists speak of morphonological awareness as unpronounceable as this word might seem as first. It is illustration of important concept. Words are often composed of meaning chunks. Think of beautiful or disconnect. The task for the developing reader is not only to hear words as composed of sounds, but to preserve their underlying structures, their morphonological structure, which is a morpho, refers to morphemes, which can be words beauty and connect, are the small pieces added to words full and this to make particular meaning. So to be more phonological awareness, which is very important to be a good reader, children have to understand the sounds correspondence, how morphemes may be combined, and the relationship between pronunciation and spelling of multi-morphemic words. Alright, students, baka malito kayo. When we say phonology, this is a study of speech sounds of language or languages. Speech sounds, more on tono, more on rhythms. But when we say morpho, this is about the study of forms of words. Let's analyze the structure of words and part of words such as familiar naman kayo dito kasi nag-high school kayo. You're familiar with stem, with root words, with prefix and suffix ng isang salita or ng isang word na binubuo. Students, when we say morpho or morphemes, ito ay binubuo ng dalawang salita na pinagsasama sa isang words at bumubuo ng another meaning. Like for example dito, beautiful. Yung beauty, meron na talaga siyang meaning. Diba? May sarili siyang meaning. Yung full, meron din siyang sariling meaning. Pero kapag pinagsama silang dalawa, beautiful, may sarili din siyang meaning. So morphemes, different words, different meanings, pero pag pinagsama mo, makakabuo ng another meaning. Okay? So, another morphemes na i-example ko sa inyo. Headband. head, bumubuo ng another meaning, or in Tagalog, nakakabuo ng ibang salita or ibig sabihin, which is head, ulo, diba? But, so, pwedeng bumuo ka ng iba't ibang words gamit yung ban, na iba't ibang meaning. Pero pag pinagsama mo sila, may sarili silang meaning. Headband, yung nilalagay sa ulo ng mga babae. So that is words or two words using morphemes. Meron din naman tayong tatlo. So 3 words using morphemes. Magbibigay ako ng example. Yun yung tatawag nating multimorphemic, which is the unbreakable. So, tatlong words na binubuo ng iba't ibang meaning. So, unahin natin ha, an. Ang an nagre-represent yan as prefix, right? Break. That is another word na pwede mong or may sariling meaning. Yan yung tinatawag nating free morpheme. Kasi marami siyang pwedeng paggamitan. Able. When you say able, alam naman ninyo yan siguro. That is the suffix. So yung tatlong yan binuo ng prefix, pre-morpheme, and suffix. Kaya nabuo ang salitang unbreakable, unfaithful. So there's a lot of different words than different meaning, pero pag pinagsama mo, iisa ang magiging ibig sabihin rin. Alright? So that is the morphemic or morphemes. So hopefully that you learned something new in phonology and morphonological or morphonology. Next. For instance, a student who heard the word protects as protects and writes it that way has a basis ability to analyze word phonetically, but he or she is missing a deeper formal phonological knowledge that goes written the surface of the words. Protects is composed of two forms or morphemes that can be combined with other morphemes in many ways. So like for example, fro and text. So may binigay dito mga example ng words na pwede mabuo gamit ang pro at text. Provide, detect, at marami pang iba. Moreover, a more developed reader, writer would know intuitively that protects is a verb, and verb don't usually end in X. In the past, portion of reading text and the workbooks were devoted to structure analysis, which address many aspects of morphological awareness, including combining prefix or prefix and suffix with root words or root words to change the grammatically or grammatical category of words. Work, working. So, although there is a current emphasis of phonemic awareness in the reading literature, it should be understood as a piece of larger set of skills. Phonetic awareness is one of most important predictors of students' success in reading. In fact, the vast majority of students who have difficulty learning to read have problems at the level of phonetic awareness, such as students may not readily hear the three sounds in fog, but hear the sounds as an unanalyzed syllable. This skill being able to figure out the spoken language is composed of phonemes or phonemes, hearing the sounds in a word and distinguishing between words based on the different sounds help children learn the letter sounds. Graphing, phenomenon, correspondence needed to learn and spell words. More important, phonetic awareness. Phonemic awareness is essential to knowing how use knowledge of letter sounds correspondence to identify new words. These skills are learned because they do not develop naturally. They should be implicit thought awareness tasks that can be used to assess a student's level of proficiency and skills. They are listed really in order to difficulty. If a student cannot do any of one of these tasks with relative success, he or she probably needs some specific intervention to improve phonemic awareness. Preceding any of these tasks, a teacher should assess the student ability to recognize and pronounce rhythm words, ability to detect and reduce rhythms in phonology, skills, and develops before grammar, phonemes, correspondence, and lack of six. The diversity key to awareness of rhythms suggests that instruction needs to begin with early developing skills. Many children can hear the beginning sounds in a word but cannot break the word down into component sounds. Not that all of the task in the oral task can do not required knowledge of the alphabet, the letters within slashes S, P, A, and etc. stand for sounds, not letters name. Okay, so thank you for watching and thank you for listening, students. I hope you learned something new within the cultural, phonology, and morphonological skills or speech. And see you on our next meeting.